Nothing's going to happen. Nothing burger. You're making a big deal out of nothing. I won't hold my breath. Never going to attack. I won't hold my breath waiting for the apology, Mr. Obvious. Told you.
After college, I went into business. I was making over
fear-monger.
$50,000 a year. In the height of my addiction,
Nothing's gonna happen. It's not a news story. Nothing's gonna happen.
I love the mortgage industry.
It's not a news story.
I could get up at 11 a.m. and work till 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then go out again.
Zero Hedge says Brent oil hits $100 a barrel. Zero Hedge says Brent oil hits $100 a barrel for the first time since 2014. Ankit Panda says reports of shelling multiple rocket launch fire on Mariupol seem credible. Reports now from multiple cities in Ukraine, including reports now from multiple cities in Ukraine, close to the anticipated worst case. This appears to be by U.S. intelligence close to the anticipated worst case, but we haven't seen by U.S. intelligence reports weeks ago. Unfortunately, but we haven't seen much yet. I'm really worried about where this is all going. We have not seen much yet. I'm really worried about where this is all going. This is from Senator Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney released a statement. Putin's Ukraine invasion is the first time in 80 years that a great power has moved to conquer a sovereign nation. Is the first time in 80 years that a great power has moved to conquer a sovereign nation. It is without justification, without provocation, and without honor. You can read the rest at his Twitter, Mitt Romney. You can read the rest at his Twitter, Mitt Romney. So again, Oliver Carroll says this is footage of an explosion in Kharkiv. This is from Oliver Carroll, posted by this person who says, "What is this, the gap in Kharkiv have you started?" Wow. Hang on one moment here. Trying to get you the latest updates. Guys, we're at 11:24. I will restart the stream before 12 hours. Yes, I agree with this. Important note to the media reporting on the invasion. Putin did not announce a military operation limited just to Donbass. There's no indication this will be a limited invasion. I agree. Guys, breaking news. Look at this. Marco Rubio, U.S. Senator, he says Russia is now working on establishing air superiority via targeted surgical strikes, a pincer movement to trap Ukrainian forces in the east and cut them off from Kyiv, finally attempt to decapitate Ukrainian government by targeting government buildings, leaders, and command and control systems. We have no idea what's going on. There might be Russian tanks rolling in, there might be Russian paratroopers, there might be Russian special forces. Who knows what's going on in different buildings? We basically know nothing right now. There could be all this stuff going on that we just don't know about. I'm sure there is. So that's pretty scary what Marco Rubio just said. We are bringing you live coverage and I will keep bringing you the latest updates here. It is 5:27 a.m.
Why interpreters want this instant translator device banned in the US. This real-time translator device is taking the world.
unconfirmed report. Oh, Estonian parliament member. Estonian parliament member. Military airfield at Kyiv is under rocket attack. This is an Estonian parliament member. Marko Mikkelson. He says military airfield at Kyiv is under rocket attack. Unbelievable. I'm very concerned. I'm guessing that Russia is going after Ukrainian armed forces. President Putin talked about demilitarization. This is very worrying. There's going to be a lot of deaths from this. This is awful. Breaking news. Now hearing jets over Belgorod, Russia, possibly flying towards the Kharkiv area. That's from Frederick Pleitgen. He's talking about Belgorod, which is going to be over, he's here. So he's here in this area, and he's saying that he's hearing the airplanes and they may be going this way. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to have to restart this stream. In about 10 minutes or so on YouTube, I'm going to be starting a new YouTube stream because after 12 hours is the stream limit. Unconfirmed reports of Boryspil Airport with explosions at it. That's in that's the major airport of Ukraine. Again, Interfax is claiming apparently that oh look, Reuters, breaking news, Reuters. Oh no, gunfire was heard on Thursday near the main airport in Ukraine of Boryspil in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, soon after Russia announced a military operation, the Interfax news agency said. And then we have this. Intel Crab says explosions targeting Boryspil near Kyiv. The international airport is located there. Are they taking out, runways, aircraft at the international airport? That's the major airport of Ukraine, Boryspil Airport in Kyiv, outside of Kyiv. Oliver Carroll says Boryspil is also a military air base. So maybe attacking military aircraft there. This is just horrible. And we're not going to know for a while. I'm sure there's going to be lots of loss of life from this. Just terrible. Oh, hold on. Cruise missiles? Look at this. Michael Weiss. We'll leave it to my military experts, but what do the explosions in Kyiv sound like to you? Artillery or something else? Rob Lee says they sound like cruise missiles, and he would know. He's a military expert. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. All right. Matthew Chance says, a Ukrainian government official says, you've been hearing missile strikes on the CNN feed. Hang on, folks. I'm just trying to get you updates here. We are bringing you live coverage. Russia has attacked Ukraine. Breaking news, Marco Rubio, breaking news. Marco Rubio has been saying what he believes is going on. He's a U.S. senator. He says Russia's airborne forces are attempting to take control of the airport in Kyiv so they can fly in forces to occupy the capital city. And in breaking news, Marco Rubio says an amphibious assault on the key port city of Mariupol is now underway. Oh my gosh. Ground forces now moving in from Belarus, Crimea, and from Russia. This is the worst case scenario. This is the worst case scenario. Unbelievable. Wow. Again, Marco Rubio, and just so you know, Marco Rubio, as Intel Doge said, I believe he's on the Intelligence Committee, so he's been tweeting out what's going on, and he believes he is vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. So again, he says, Russia's airborne forces are attempting to take control of the airport in the capital, Kyiv, so they can fly in forces to occupy the capital. An amphibious assault on the key port city of Mariupol is now underway. That's a city of 500,000 people. And amphibious means they're landing troops from the water. Unbelievable. The city is right on the water. Look, there's Mariupol right there. There it is. It's on the water. And then he also says ground forces are now moving in from Belarus, Crimea, and from Russia. So you're looking at, if we zoom out here, this is just really unbelievable. Just so scary. From Belarus, from Russia maybe, from Crimea. It's all over the place, all sides. Okay, we're going to restart this. We're getting, guys, I'm getting close to 12 hours here. I'm getting close to 12 hours. If you're watching on YouTube, I have to restart the YouTube stream. I'm going to restart the YouTube stream right now. All the other streams, keep watching. YouTube, we're getting close to 12 hours. I'm going to end the stream on YouTube and I'm going to start right away. It'll take me like a couple minutes to get back on the air and we'll keep going. Same channel, Agenda Free TV. I have to wrap up this stream now. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to end the stream in a second and then I'm going to start a stream as soon as I can. It'll probably take a couple minutes to get it on the air, okay? So again, we'll be right back here, Agenda Free TV, in a couple minutes. Just let me get it started. And let's do that, and we're gonna restart it now. We're gonna restart it now. So everybody else, just bear with me on the other platforms. But for the people on YouTube, I am ending the YouTube stream now, and then I'm going to restart the YouTube stream on Agenda Free TV. So YouTube viewers, I'll be back in a couple minutes. Keep an eye out, Agenda Free TV, ending the YouTube stream right now. Okay, everybody watching on the other streams, guys.
Their allies, their NATO allies, to ensure a strong united response that deters any aggression against the alliance. And again, the importance of that statement is Ukraine is not part of the NATO alliance. And so America has already reinforced some of its allies that are within NATO, some of the Baltic states, moved troops to Poland. And you would think that they are going to further shore up those defenses. But that does not mean they're going to be moving troops into Ukraine. So unfortunately for Ukraine, they're in it alone, at least militarily.
And effectively, I guess that means that the American red line is along the Polish border, is along the Romanian border, wherever NATO countries exist, but not along the border between Russia and Ukraine. That does, in a sense, militarily, effectively throw Ukraine to the wolves.
Yeah, and this is what Ukraine has feared for a long time, and this is what we've heard repeatedly from their foreign minister while he's been in the United States. We're pushing to take action earlier, not to be waiting until Russian troops had actually crossed into Ukraine, but to actually be hitting Russia with the full weight that the world is willing to muster, and mainly economic weight at this point, because they have ruled out military intervention. But that didn't happen, and arguably that hasn't worked. The strategy of the United States and its Western allies to not go all in preemptively may have emboldened Putin. But again, as been pointed out by the Prime Minister, and many analysts have said this, if Putin had set his mind to invading Ukraine, there may have been no sanction that the world was willing or able to use that would have actually dissuaded him from doing so.
All right, Carrington, thanks so much for that analysis. And a crisis meeting of the United Nations Security Council has been underway in New York. The presidency of the Security Council is currently held by the Russian Federation, of course, setting up another uncomfortable session in the chamber. Let's take a listen in.
I shall now make a statement in my capacity as the representative of the Russian Federation. Colleagues, today we've had an intensive day from the point of view of discussions of the Ukrainian crisis. I won't repeat what I said this morning at the General Assembly. I can only state with regret that taking stock of the day, our signals to Kiev about the need to stop provocations against Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republics were not heeded. It would appear that our Ukrainian colleagues, who recently have been actively armed and egged on by a host of states, are still harbouring the illusion that, with the benediction of their Western sponsors, they will be able to achieve a military solution to the problem in the Donbass. Otherwise, it is difficult to explain the substantial intensification of shelling and acts of diversion on the territory of these republics. The Special Monitoring Mission of the OSCE recorded today almost 2,000 cases of violations of the ceasefire regime, including almost 1,500 explosions. Those living in Donetsk and Lugansk still sheltering in basements. The refugees are still flowing into Russia. In a word, the nature of the provocation by the Ukrainian military has not changed. You don't want to notice this, repeating the Ukrainian fairy tales that those living in Donetsk are all but shelling themselves. It is no surprise that the increasing suffering of those living in the Donbass does not seem to affect our Western colleagues. Through the whole day of debate today at the General Assembly, you haven't been able to find one word of compassion.
If you're a homeowner looking to cut ties with your electric bill, this new solar program could.
This is just exactly the same message we've heard time and time again. The question is how far he goes into the country. You know, we will just have to wait and see, but it was very, very scary from Vladimir Putin. And it's just part of a trajectory that he's been on for some years. If you think back to 2008, the war in Georgia, where areas of that country were annexed, and then he sent in the military to secure them. The same happened in Crimea in 2014. And so, you know, this is very much a president who sees himself as a man who wants to rebuild the Russian Empire. He actually earlier this week said that that wasn't what his ambitions were. He'd heard in the media, I think, probably, and from world leaders, that this had been the challenge to him, that he was somehow hell-bent on recreating a Russian empire. He said, that's not what it is. I'm just defending my homeland, and I'm defending people in eastern Ukraine. But the evidence is clearly that this is exactly what he's doing. And as we heard there from Ian, you know, it is not just now going to be the eastern parts of Ukraine that will be his focus. It may well be the rest of the country, because we heard in that speech back on Monday, he doesn't believe that Ukraine should exist. You know, he believes that this is a country which is within the former USSR and the former Russian Empire. So I think it's very, very scary, honestly, the language that he was using, and we'll just have to wait and see what exactly happens next. Andrew?
And what about the relationship between these two nations? Can you describe to us how everyday Russians view their Ukrainian neighbors? And do you think Russians expected this to happen? Describe for us how this has been reported in Russia, if you will.
Well, I don't think Russians did expect this to happen, to be honest. I mean, obviously, it depends who you ask, but there's been a sort of level of sort of suspended disbelief about the possibility of invasion. There have been moments where people have been scared or shocked by a development. I think Vladimir Putin's original speech, when he addressed the nation, saying, you know, it sounded like a president who was preparing his nation for war. I think the law that passed here in the parliament, which gave permission for the army to go into a foreign country, that was the same law that was passed in 2014 to allow the annexation of Crimea. That got people thinking here, I think. And of course, that televised Security Council meeting, that has never happened before. So there have been moments that have broken through the suspended disbelief, but most of all, I think people just, a lot of them didn't think this was going to happen. People regard Ukrainians as their brothers. They have a shared history, a shared culture. Vladimir Putin said that. Of course, he uses that as a reason that it shouldn't exist. Regular Russians, a lot of them will have very strong ties to Ukraine, and they'll be waking up now really, I think, very worried about what is happening. But they will be told, as they have been so far, that this is not an offensive military operation. This is the defensive one. So there will be a sense of reluctantly accepting the need to enter Ukraine rather than supporting a president who is hell-bent on rebuilding a Russian empire. They have been told time and time again, this is happening because NATO is a threat. The West is supporting Ukraine. Ukraine will join NATO. We will have yet another country that is allied with other countries throughout Europe and the United States against Russia, and we cannot have that. We've had these wild accusations, for example, that the United States is going to help Ukraine launch a nuclear weapon against Russia. I mean, these are messages that they've heard repeatedly, and not just in the last few days. These have been over the last 8 years to kind of sell the idea that these operations in eastern Ukraine should continue, or that at least the Russians there should, the Russian speakers should be supported by people here in the Russian Federation. So this is not old news for Russians waking up this morning, the arguments anyway, but I think it'll be shock that this has actually happened.
James, thank you. And let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor. Thank you again for joining us. A senior Pentagon official says that this is the start of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Is there any way to back away from the brink here, or are we at the point of no return?
I think we've passed the point of no return. I think the attacks that President Putin has announced and that we've started to hear from not just Kharkiv, but even in Kyiv, that's amazing. It's far distant from the border. And even we've heard some reports from the southern part of Ukraine, south of the occupied territories of Donbass. So we're past the point of going back. He's attacked Putin has no justification for this. There is no indication whatsoever that he was able to find a justification. He was looking for one. He was hoping that he would have some rationale, something that he could point to that says, oh, the Ukrainians are attacking. He never got that. The Ukrainians were so disciplined to not respond to the provocations. And so now President Putin is left with no rationale. He has undertaken an unprovoked attack on a neighbor. This is criminal. He will go down in history badly for this.
And now, as that invasion is underway, if you were still the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, what would you be doing right now?
So I would be making it clear to the Ukrainian government that we're strongly supporting them. We support their sovereignty. We support their right to fight back. We have been providing weapons and ammunition, training, and equipment, and we will continue to do that. The Ukrainian government will now have to decide how it responds. It's clearly going to fight. The Ukrainian military is prepared for this. It's not a match. It is clearly not a match for the Russian military, but the Ukrainian military will exact a very high price. There will be Russian soldiers who will be killed if they come across the border, if they follow up these missile attacks or artillery attacks or aerial bombardments, which must be going on right now. If they follow those up with attacks across the border by infantry or artillery or tanks, they will pay the price. So the Ukrainian military will fight hard.
You mentioned that the U.S. military is helping with weapons, ammo, equipment. Is there any point of escalation where that might also include U.S. troops?
So far, no indication at all of U.S. troops. The Ukrainians have not asked for U.S. troops, and President Biden has been very clear that he doesn't have the intent to send U.S. troops into Ukraine. Now, what he has done, what President Biden has done, is move U.S. forces from the United States to East European allies. He has also moved forces from other parts of Europe to East European allies because they are now threatened. So Poland is now threatened. Romania is now threatened. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Baltic nations, those are now threatened by this invasion from Russia into Ukraine in the direction of NATO.
So with that, how would you advise the Ukrainian leadership?
So the Ukrainian leadership is clearly capable of mounting a defense. They have to defend themselves. They will also be taking care that they can maintain control of the country. The Russians probably are going to try to depose this government. Who knows what they're after? We know in general what they're after, which is to dominate Ukraine. But how they go about that is not yet clear. And so President Zelensky, who has stood up to President Putin very clearly, very strong, very resolute, he's going to have to continue to do that. He's going to have to rally his nation to fight and resist the Russians as they come across.
Now, as all this is happening, the UN is still in an emergency meeting discussing the crisis in Ukraine right now, many pleading for Russia to pull back. What can UN diplomats actually achieve?
Not very much. Sad to say that the Security Council, because it has a veto power for the Russians to use, the Security Council cannot act. So it is not able to stop. It wasn't able to stop the invasion in 2014. The Russians invaded Ukraine, of course, in 2014. Security Council met, and the Russians vetoed the condemnation. It was very interesting. The Chinese, even the Chinese, abstained from that. Be interesting to see what the Chinese do this time. I would imagine that Security Council will propose that the United States will propose a resolution that condemns this attack, this unprovoked attack on a sovereign nation in violation of the UN Security Council and the UN Charter. And I imagine that the Russians will veto it. So that will then set the stage for another conversation in the General Assembly. And in the General Assembly, which doesn't have the ability to actually do things, but it can say things, it will vote to condemn Russia, but it's not able to stop this fight.
And with that said, so much of this surrounds the possibility of Ukraine applying for NATO membership. Why is that such an issue for Russian President Vladimir Putin?
It's a great question. It is a great question. Everyone knows, including Vladimir Putin, that Ukraine is not ready to join NATO today or tomorrow or even next year. So why he is invading to stop something that's not going to happen anytime soon, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's totally unjustified. There is no answer to your question. It's a good question, and there's no answer.
Realistically here, what's the worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario is a massive invasion by these 200,000 or more troops that the Russians have.
Have you seen this space-age roofing product that lowers energy bills without solar panels or batteries?
Scootercaster, who's in Kyiv, says, Kyiv is quiet at the moment except for a few loud booms in the distance that have since stopped. She is there. She is there. Marco, breaking news. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Marco Rubio, U.S. Senator, Intelligence Committee, says long-range missile launches from Russia are now underway. They are headed towards various pre-selected military sites throughout Ukraine. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I'm sorry to keep saying it, but it really is. I can't believe we are seeing this. Just trying to keep giving you updates, guys. Hang on a second here. Hang on. This is terrible. Look at this. This is awful. Oleksiy Sorokin is in Ukraine. I believe Kyiv. Subway packed, streets also. People gather with loved ones and try to flee. Petra Makala says Russian artillery is opening up on the Kharkiv front. He is an analyst. Hang on one second here. Hang on. Hang on. I might have missed a Scootercaster video. Did she post something else? Let's see. This is 14 minutes ago. What appears to be smoke rising in Kyiv at this time after a few loud bombs were heard around 5:46 a.m. Breaking news, breaking news. Michael Horowitz, Ukrainian sources report missile strikes on the outskirts of Odessa. It's like, look at this. We've heard of strikes in Odessa, possible amphibious landing, explosions and possible amphibious landing in Mariupol. We've heard about attacks in or around Kyiv, in explosions in or around Kharkiv. Dnipro, we heard a report of an explosion. So it just seems like it's the full-on attacks throughout Ukraine going on right now. Breaking news, landing operation by the Russian Black Sea Fleet in the Sea of Azov and in Odessa. Reuters cites Interfax. Interfax is Russian news. So look, we could be seeing Russia landing troops on the shore near Mariupol. These are large cities. Mariupol has 500,000 people. And also over that would be in the Sea of Azov. That would be the Sea of Azov, and this would be the Black Sea, maybe landing in Odessa, very important port city. I think Odessa has, like around 1 million people or something. Odessa population, so 1 million people in Odessa. So what's going on in these cities? We don't know. Hang on, folks. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. PM Breaking News posted this. Hang on. Breaking news. Breaking news, breaking news. Matt Bradley, MSNBC. Troopers have landed in Odessa and are crossing the border into Kharkiv, where I am now, according to the advisor to Ukraine's Minister of the Interior. Russian troops have landed in the port city of Odessa and are also on the other side of the country, crossing the border into Kharkiv, where I am now. And he also said, just heard another distant explosion here in Kharkiv. This was the latest we've heard about after an hour-long break. So we're talking about troops going into the very important port city of Odessa, landed. Sounds like an amphibious landing. What are they doing? Are they taking over important government buildings? I have no idea. And also he said that troops were crossing up here into Kharkiv.
When I travel, it broadens one's horizons. It makes me feel adventurous and young again.
Neil Hauer, Neil Hauer, more booms in the distance, reports that Russian paratroopers are assaulting Kyiv Airport. That is the main airport that's the biggest airport in Ukraine. The one just outside of Kyiv. I think it's Boryspil or something. Kyiv Airport being evacuated, Reuters. Breaking news, BNO News. Kyiv Airport being evacuated from according to Reuters. And I bet we're going to see videos come out of all this stuff. I bet people are videoing on their phones and stuff. Breaking news, that was earlier. Andrew Beatty, powerful explosions heard on East Ukraine front near Kramatorsk. Also explosions heard in Mariupol, eastern Ukraine. This is just all over the place. Breaking news. Look at this. Moscow attacking Ukraine's command and control. Ukrainian military command centers in Kyiv and Kharkiv attacked by missile strikes. According to Ukrainian Pravda news website cites Interior Ministry official. Let me see if I can get you that Ukrainian Pravda. I have the website here from them. Hang on, folks. Ukrainian Pravda, here it is. Missile strikes began in Kyiv and Kharkiv. Explosions heard a city of Ukraine. Missile strikes were fired at military control centers in Kyiv and Kharkiv. Artillery shelling of the border by Russia is underway. According to Interfax, at 5 a.m. local time, rocket attacks began on military facilities throughout Ukraine, from Luhansk to Zhytomyr. It is reported that a landing operation by the Black Fleet in the Sea of Azov and Odessa has begun. In Nikolaev, strong fires, missile and artillery depot destroyed in Kharkiv. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Thomas Juneau says the U.S. intelligence community clearly got a lot right in recent weeks. Michael Weiss says Putin just announced a military operation to denazify a country whose president is Jewish. President Putin said that he's going to conduct a military operation. He mentioned denazifying. He also mentioned demilitarizing Ukraine. Michael Horowitz reports multiple air bases have been targeted over the past hour and a half. Again, Reuters is saying that Kyiv airport is being evacuated. Hang on, folks. Getting you other updates here too. I'm seeing some unconfirmed footage too. Christina Maza says she is with National Journal. It looks like an air raid on military installations, Vasilkov, Borispol, also hearing about explosions in Kharkiv, Odessa, Dnipro. From a friend in Ukraine right now. Oh, that's what the friend says. The friend says it looks like an air raid on military installations, Vasilkov, Borispol, also hearing about explosions in Kharkiv, Odessa, Dnipro. I'm seeing some unconfirmed videos. I don't really want to share those. Trying to be careful about the videos. Michael Horowitz, I trust Michael. I know he really tries to be responsible. This is supposedly Dnepropetrovsk. Unbelievable. Let me see if I can find this on the map for you. I don't even know where that is. That's here. Oh, that's Dnipro. That's Dnipro. It's Dnipro, the city, I believe. That's Dnipro. So all kinds of attacks going on cities. We're hearing missiles, soldiers, reports of amphibious landings. It's just, who knows what's happening right now.
They're scared to death. They're scared to look.
Interfax reporting that Russian troops have landed off of ships in Mariupol and Odessa. We heard that before. That's from Interfax in Russia, Russian media. Hang on a second here. Guys, there's some unconfirmed videos here. I will pass them along, but these are unconfirmed, okay? Militaryland.net, who some people I follow, they say they claim this is Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. I don't know that for sure.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй? Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Это война, мам. Это нормально.
See that explosion there?
Єбать, що робиться нахуй?
Anyways, I can't confirm that. I can't confirm it, but there's clearly lots of explosions going on, so I will, keep showing you the reports. Yeah, Marks, who I follow, he posted the same video, so Again, I don't know. What
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас. Война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас. Война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас. Война, мам. Это нормально. Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
База взорвалась.
Война, мам. Это нормально. Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
База взорвалась. Вот и пизда.
Война, мам. Это нормально. Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
База взорвалась. Вот и пизда.
Война, мам. Это нормально. Єбать, що робиться нахуй.
База взорвалась. Вот и пизда.
Война, мам. Это нормально.
База
Єбать,
взорвалась.
що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Это война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Это война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Это война, мам. Это нормально.
База взорвалась.
Єбать, що робиться нахуй. Ужас.
Вот и пизда.
Это война, мам. Это нормально.
Fire, they're not in the front of the lines firing the guns. National Guard would be occupation forces. So Putin says he's not going to occupy Ukraine, but the amount of force he had suggests, and the type of force he had suggested he was planning on